All right, so coming to a nice easy seat, your legs can be crossed, they can be stacked in front of one another, they can be extended out. Just to come to a nice easy seat and find the sit bones start to root down as you begin to find length in the spine. We'll just start here in a comfy little spot. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Coco. I've been a yoga teacher for almost 3 years now. It is one of my biggest passions, so I'm really happy that you all can be here to join me today. I do all kinds of yoga, from chair yoga to basic yoga to advanced power yoga. So really, I like to do it all. But one of my favorite things is empowering everybody and showing everybody that yoga is for everybody. Right? Like, yoga is so many things, but I wanted to go over what it's not, because often we get this misconception in our head that yoga is like achieving a fancy pose or posture, but rather it's just coming to the mat and committing to 1 to 60 minutes of practice through breathing and concentration. Yoga is not like the fancy clothes people wear that you see like people wearing in yoga journal or whatever, but rather it's about our values and our belief systems and how we interact with the world around us. Yoga is not about getting a perfect body, but rather recognition that the body is already perfectly imperfect. So yoga is not about flexibility, but rather shifting our perspective and using mindfulness so that we can find a little bit of peace and bliss. So yoga is something that we are going to practice on our mat for the next hour. But what I want to come out of this experience is the ability to take our tools of our breath and our mindfulness off the mat into our everyday lives. So making yourself comfy, making sure you maybe have a water nearby, maybe a stack of books or a yoga block if you have them. I have an encyclopedia here. I have 2 soft cover books, just so that later in the practice we can bring the ground up to us. All right, so we will begin here, finding the sit bones rooted down into maybe your towel or your blanket, and starting to find a nice long spine. Bringing the hands onto the tops of the thighs here. They can be palms face up towards the sky here to find energy from the universe, or you can place them down just to like bring that energy back into the body. Nice. We're going to start to drop the shoulders away from the ears here as we start to find a little bit of engagement in our trunk. So instead of just like hunching over or like sitting too far back, we're just going to start to find our belly button, just noticing where it is in space. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, let the belly button expand out, and on your exhale, pull it into your core. And start to find this trunk engagement in the torso here, the core engagement. Sitting up nice and tall, finding the length in the spine here. Yeah, we're trying to find length in our central hub, our spine, that is full of our nervous system and sends signals to our brain and our body. Beautiful. So nice. From here, we're just going to gently close the eyes or soften the gaze here. And we're going to come into a little bit of pranayama. And what that means is breath. So we're going to get into a little breath influence here. Carf, come over here. And we're just going to start to notice our nice natural breath. So just notice your inhale in and your exhale out. Now we're going to get into a little practice here. So on our next inhale, breathe in through the nose if that's available for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Now breathe out through the mouth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time and we'll change it up. Breathing in through the nose. 3, 2, 1. Out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to take a big breath in through the nose. We're going to pause at the top of it, not exhaling, not inhaling. And then we're going to sigh it out, like we're sighing out through a little straw in our mouth. Nice. Nice. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose. Pause at the top of it. Breathe out through a little straw in the mouth. 2 more times. Inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale. Last time. Inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale. Beautiful. Gently blink open the eyes here if they're closed. We're going to start to get into our shoulders a little bit. So on our next inhale, we're just going to shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Like they're almost kind of like we're closing off this space from the ears and the neck. And then on our exhale, we're going to roll the shoulders towards the back of the room as we let them drop down. Let's do that again with our breath. Inhale, pull the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, roll them down and back. Nice. Now we're going to reverse that. We're going to inhale, pull the shoulders up, and then roll them forward. Yeah, maybe the arms start to come into this a little bit. We're just going to roll the arms forward with our breath, not worrying about how we look or, maybe this feels a little different or awkward, but not labeling it here, just being with it. Inhale, roll it forward one more time. Nice. We're going to reach our hands out and then bring our hands onto the tops of our shoulders. Still finding our sit bones connected down into the earth wherever you're seated, finding that nice long spine. And then we're going to bring our awareness to our ribs here with our hands on our shoulders. So we're just going to start to core set the ribs or pull the ribs in towards one another. But now we're going to start circling the shoulders. Circling the elbows, nice and small. Start to make those circles bigger. Nice. Keeping the lower half of the body nice and heavy. Start to make those circles even bigger. Nice. Now we're going to bring the arms into this, starting to circle the arms all around. Maybe the wrists start to get a little expressive here and you start to swirl the wrists. Nice. Now we'll switch directions the next time we come all the way up and circle towards the front of the room or the back, whichever way is opposite. Just taking these nice big circles, getting into our shoulder and to our wrists. One more big circle here. And then we'll reach the arms out in front of us, finding our arms in line with our shoulders. Starting to extend the fingers towards the front of the room as if we're going to touch each other. Nice. Now we're going to slowly close our hands into fists, making our thumbs on the outside of our fists. And then we'll slowly open them up. Spread out through the fingers as if you can create space between the webbing of your fingers and close them. Beautiful. We're going to start to pick up the pace a little bit, opening and closing the hands into fists. Maybe you start to notice a little bit of sensation in the shoulders here. I know I am. And instead of labeling it as good or bad here, we're just going to stay with our breath and we're just going to start to open and close our hands faster and faster and faster and as fast as you can. For 3, for 2, 1, set the hands down onto the shins or to the knees here. Nice, beautiful. All right, if you're not in a cross leg position or your legs stacked in front of one another, I'm going to ask you to do that now. Maybe crossing at the ankles. If you have some blocks and your knees are a little tight here, you can bring a book or a block underneath a knee if that feels good. You can remove your blanket underneath you and you can kind of roll it up into a little little wedge here and kind of shove it underneath the knees here on top of the ankles just to create a little bit more comfort. So finding what works with your body, finding your hands on your knees, we're going to start to take some seated cat and cows, starting to aim our spine here. So on our next inhale, we're going to start to pull the heart towards the front of the room as we pull the skull towards the back of the room, almost creating like a double chin in the face. On our exhale, we're going to start to slowly round the spine towards the back of the room as we tuck the chin in towards the chest and take your gaze down to your ankles. Beautiful. We're going to move with our breath. Inhale, pulling the heart forward, drawing the back of the skull back. Exhale, round through the spine, tuck the chin. 2 more times. Getting big. Maybe this time the gaze starts to go up and down. 1 more time. Nice. Coming all the way back to that nice neutral spine. All right, I'm just gonna reorient myself on the mat, but you stay however works for you. I'm just gonna bring my feet out in front of me, finding about hip width distance here as all 4 corners of the feet reach down towards the earth. Now, they might not all touch, but energetically bring the big toe mounds, the pinky toe mounds, and both sides of the heels down onto the ground. Nice, finding a nice long spine here. We're just gonna grab for the edges of our thighs. Big breath in here as our gaze begins to go down between our thighs and we start to round through the spine. We're gonna reach the arms underneath us and give ourselves a nice big hug. Nice, yeah, look at you, you're already doing yoga, awesome. Finding one more big breath here. And we'll slowly sit all the way back up. All right, we're gonna extend the left leg out, bringing the toes up towards the face, the heel on the mat here, or the earth. Keeping that right knee up towards the ceiling and keeping about a hand's width of space between the knee and that front ankle. So they're not touching here, but there's some space. All right, we're gonna extend the right arm towards the front of the room, and then we're gonna slowly drop that right arm down so it's in line with our elbow, and it's resting on the elbow here. Nice. We're gonna bring the left hand behind us somewhere in space, and we're gonna start to draw the crown of the head up. Find the sit bones rooted down here, and start to push that right elbow or right forearm into the right leg. Start to push the right leg into the right forearm as we begin to take our gaze towards the back of the room. Yeah, nice. Letting that left foot stay nice and flexed here. Finding the right knee, push into the right elbow as the right elbow pushes into the right knee. Draw the crown of the head up. Think lengthen the spine here. And take the gaze a little bit further behind that back shoulder. Nice. Big breath in here. Big breath out. One more time. Big breath in. Big breath out. Slowly come back to center. We'll extend the right leg out to meet the left. We'll bring the hands alongside the hips. Now this is another great spot for a block if you'd like to bring the block or the books underneath your hands. We're starting to draw the crown of the head up, finding length in the spine, pulling the belly button towards the spine here. Nice, and we're just gonna start to popcorn the knees up and down. Oh, because of my black mat, you can't see it very well, but we're just popcorning the knees, finding a little bounce in them. Nice. Now we'll take our twist to the second side. So slowly bending through the left knee here. Maybe you assist it a little bit. Finding space between that left foot and that right knee. Flexing through the right toes here. We're going to bring the right elbow or right forearm to the inside of the left knee. From here, we're going to reach that right arm somewhere behind us in space. Inhale, start to draw the crown of the head up, and exhale, begin to take your gaze over to the right side of the room. Each inhale, growing a little taller, keeping that spine nice and straight, and each exhale, maybe twisting a little bit further. Maybe that gaze goes over that right shoulder. Nice, using that back hand to kind of help prop the body up here. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time. And slowly come back to center. Nice, beautiful. We're going to extend the legs out in front of us, flexing the toes up. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, we're just going to reach for the knees, the shins, the ankles as we tuck the chin in towards the chest. Yeah, just finding a little fold here, nothing fancy, rounding through the spine. Noticing any sensations that you may feel here and just being okay with it. Yeah. Noticing what's coming up. Noticing if there's anything that needs your attention here in your body. And instead of setting judgment to it, send your breath. Let's take a big breath in through the nose. And exhale, sigh, get a little heavier. One more time, big breath in. And exhale, we'll slowly sit all the way back up. Nice. All right, we're gonna make our way onto our hands and our knees here. So you can bring the feet towards the right or the left side and bring the hands out in front of you as we come on to our all fours, our tabletop pose here. All right, so finding, as I push the dog toys out of the way, finding our joint stacked, finding our shoulders over our wrists, finding our hips over our knees, and starting to find a little engagement here as we pull the belly button in towards the spine. All right, with the right hand, I'm just gonna show you what we're doing. We're gonna flip the right hand over towards, the right fingers over towards the right side of the room, and the left fingers over to the left side of the room. So keeping them underneath the shoulders here, we're just gonna slowly sway shoulder to shoulder, from right, from left. Just finding a little bit of wrist opening here, a little forearm engagement. And just taking it easy. Finding what works here. Maybe the fingers move a little bit further towards the body. Maybe you keep them right where you're at. Just slowly swinging side to side. Nice. We'll find one more big breath here. And we'll turn all 10 fingers back to 12 o'clock. We're going to tuck the toes under here, and we're going to slowly sit the hips down onto the heels. From here, we're going to walk the hands back towards the knees here as we begin to stack the shoulders over the hips. Now, this is called screaming toe pose for a reason. It's a big, intense pose. So checking in with all 10 toes here and kind of like helping them out so that they're curled under. You can always exit out of this pose by lifting the hips up off the heels. But otherwise, to distract ourselves, we're just going to reach the arms out. We're going to cross the right over the left, and we're just going to reach for our upper arms or our shoulders. When you get to your spot, we're going to tuck the chin towards the chest. Big breath in, give yourself a nice tight squeeze. Maybe move the elbows side to side. Big breath out. One more time, inhale. Exhale, release the hands down, untuck the toes, and gently tap them on the mat behind you. Getting rid of all of that tension in the body. Nice. Let's do that one more time. Tucking the toes under, slowly sitting back, finding the shoulders stacked over the hips. Trying to work into our feet here so that we can find our foundation when we're walking or standing, just nice and aligned. Nice. This time we'll reach the arms out and we'll cross the left over the right, giving ourselves a nice tight squeeze. Remember, there's always an exit option by lifting up and then sitting back down. This might be a little uncomfortable. We're not looking for pain here. So if there's pain, please back out. But otherwise, just sit with this feeling. Big breath in, big breath out. Bring the hands down to the ground. Gently untuck the toes and tap them on the mat behind you. Nice. Beautiful. All right, so finding our fingers really spread out here, as if I could come around and put like grapes between your fingers, and finding the hands really planted into the earth underneath the shoulders, about hip width distance or shoulder distance apart. We're gonna find some cat and cows here. So like what we did seated, on our inhale, we're gonna drop our belly down as we start to take our gaze up to the wall in front of us. Big breath in. Then on your exhale, inch by inch, we're going to slowly start to round through the spine, pushing through the arms here, tucking the chin in towards the neck, and slowly looking between the thighs. Nice, we'll move through a couple rounds here, finding spinal flexion and extension, moving with your breath. Nice. Yeah, finding what works for you here. You can stay doing these cat and cows, these more traditional. You can start to sink back towards your heels, maybe round up. You can move your hips side to side as you do this. Just find a few more rounds here. Coming into your breath, noticing the sensations that come up and not judging them. One more big round here. And coming back to a nice neutral position, pulling that belly button in towards the spine. All right, so we're gonna keep the left hand where it is, and we're gonna tent the right fingertips out towards the right corner of the mat. So pretend you have like a little bagel underneath your hand. From here, we're gonna extend the left leg out behind us, keeping the toes on the ground. So finding the core engaged, finding the shoulder stack, the hips square here. This is a great spot to be, creating one long line of energy from the toes to the shoulder. Nice. You can stay here if you would like, the gaze down towards the mat, or you can start to lift the right hand up towards the front of the room as if we're shaking hands. You can stay here, or maybe you want to find a little bit of balance, slowly starting to lift that left leg up behind us. So the right arm's lifted, the left leg is lifted, or you're down on the ground still. Find one more big breath wherever you're at, and slowly bring the hand down, the knee down. Nice, we're gonna walk the hands over to the left side of the mat here, taking our gaze between our hands, letting the right ribs flare out towards the right side of the room. Big breath in, and walk the hands back through center. Maybe it feels good to take a cat and cow here. Beautiful, we'll set up for the second side. So we're gonna tent the left fingertips out towards the left corner of the mat. Noticing that both shoulders stay engaged here, nice and square. And we're gonna extend the right leg out behind us, keeping the toes on the ground, keeping that right hip squared. So if it starts to flare up on one side, just gently tug it down. Nice, this is a great spot to be, the neck nice and long, or maybe you'd like to add on by lifting that left hand up towards the front of the room, thumb up here as if we're shaking hands. Maybe you lift that leg up, creating one long line of energy in this little balance pose. I know it's not little, there's a lot going on, but finding our breath here and hanging out for one more big inhale. One more exhale, set the hand down, set the knee down. We're gonna walk the hands over to the right side of the mat here, knocking our hips over to the left. Keep the neck down, the gaze long. Big breath in. Slowly walk back through center. All right, beautiful. So from here, we're gonna keep the right hand down on the ground. We're gonna bring our right foot off the right side of the mat. So it's on the mat, now it's off the mat. From here, we're gonna start to extend the left leg out behind us, bringing all four corners of the foot onto the earth. From here, we're gonna start to stack the shoulders as we lift the left arm up. So we're creating this side plank pose. So we have our hips stacked, we have our shoulders stacked. Nice, we're extending out through the fingertips here, and instead of just like dumping in on this wrist here, start to find a lift. Engage the core here and start to lift up out of that hand for the side plank pose. Great. If the hand feels a little uncomfortable here, you can always feel free to bring a block or your books, library books even, underneath your hands. I hope you're all reading something good right now. Nice, so finding one more big breath just like this. And we're gonna plant down into that left foot. All right, from here, we're gonna use that top hand to help ourselves all the way up, stacking our shoulders over our hips here. Nice, we're gonna bring the left hand down onto the left leg, reach that right hand up. Nice. The back foot, the toes can be tucked under, or you can be on the top of your foot. It doesn't matter here. Just whatever's comfortable. So from here, planting down into that left edge of the left foot, we're going to start to reach up and over, reaching for the left side of the room. Now bring your awareness here to your ribs. We're going to start to pull the top ribs onto our back body so that maybe, just maybe, our gaze starts to go up towards the ceiling. Nice. Big breath in here. Big breath out. We're opening all the way on this right side body. Noticing. Beautiful. One more inhale. And exhale. We're going to come back into our starting pose, our side plank. Reaching that left hand up. Keeping that left leg extended out long. Option here to stay here, or maybe lift that left leg. Beautiful. Find a big breath in. Now we're going to slowly come back to our tabletop pose, bringing the left hand down, bringing both knees down to the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, the gaze goes up as we found our cow pose. And exhale, curl everything under. Ooh, nice. Finding a few more cat and cows here. I'm just going to switch my orientation on my mat so you can all hear me. Beautiful. All right. So keeping our left hand down this time, we're going to swing our left foot off the left side of the mat here. So it's no longer on the mat, and it's kind of acting like a little kickstand. From here, we're going to start to extend the right leg out behind us, turning the toes out towards the side. From here, we're going to start to stack the hips, stack the shoulders, reach that right hand up. Nice. And again, instead of collapsing down into that wrist, find a little bit of lift here. Like find that top hand energetically pulling you up here. Yeah, find that core engagement. Big breath in, big breath out. What can you let go of right here? On your next inhale, think of something. And on your exhale, let go of it. For me, that's my shopping list. All right, one more inhale. Exhale, we're gonna find our gate pose. So we're gonna use that top hand to lift up and slowly bring our shoulders over the hips, still extending out through that foot here. Finding all four corners of the foot planted on the earth, we'll bring the right hand down onto the right thigh. Inhale, reach that left arm up here, get nice and big, take up a lot of space. And exhale, we're gonna slowly start to fold over. Nice, beautiful. Now we're gonna start to pull that top rib back here, really opening up in the intercostals, all of those muscles here in between the ribs. Taking the gaze up here as we draw that left shoulder onto the back body. Maybe the gaze goes up here. Maybe it goes down. Just finding what feels good for one more big breath. And slowly, we're going to come back into our supported side plank, reaching that right hand up. Keeping that left arm down. Nice, you can stay here. Maybe, just maybe, find a little lightness in that right leg and lift it up. Yeah, working the inner thighs here, working the outer thighs here. Nice, big breath in. And slowly come back to your tabletop pose. Taking a few cat and cows here. Releasing all that tension. Nice. Beautiful. All right. So let's come into a downward facing dog. So first, finding our hands really spread out, pushing the thumb and the first finger really into the mat here, and finding that index finger at like 12 o'clock-ish. Nice. We're going to tuck the toes under here. Take a nice deep breath in. And on your exhale, we're going to start to lift the hips up and back here. Keeping as much bend in the knee as you need. If your hamstrings are tight, if your glutes are tight, just keeping a nice bend in the knees here. We're gonna slowly start to pedal out the legs, walking our dog. Yeah, finding this movement here as we drop one heel down towards the earth. Pushing down into the hands here and letting the head begin to hang away from the shoulders, creating like this inverted V shape with our body. Now, a lot of times we can get in misalignment in our downward dog by having our downward dog too close. So making sure we're taking up a lot of space on our mat. Yeah, not worried about if our heels touch here, but energetically just like letting them fall down towards the earth. So we start to open up in the hamstrings. Nice. Finding the core engagement, finding the hands plugged in, letting the head drop. Take your gaze between your knees. Big breath in, big breath out. Let's find one more breath here as we shake the head yes a few times. As we shake the head no a few times. Beautiful. We'll come up onto the toes here. We're going to tiptoe our way to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. Now in this forward fold, I want you all to find all four corners of the feet planted into the earth, but then let's all find a generous bend in the knees here. Yeah, just so that we can take this out of the legs and target the lower back here. So you can bring your hands down onto your books or block here. We're just gonna let the head dangle, finding this nice big bend in the knees and just letting the head drop. Nice, beautiful. So today is the spring equinox, woohoo. It's one of the moments in the year where the sun is exactly above the equator, where day and night are the same length of time. Nice. That's exciting because it's a beautiful sunny day here. And we're gonna be like the sun on our next breath. So we're gonna bring our hands down onto the block or to the tops of the shins here. On our next inhale, we're gonna start to draw the crown of the head forward as we let the sit bones reach behind us. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. All right, plugging into all four corners of the feet. The big toe mounds, the pinky toe mounds, both sides of the heels. From here, we're gonna start to roll up inch by inch by inch. We're gonna slowly bring the arms all the way up, reaching up, looking up, taking a full body stretch here. Sorry, my camera cut out. Big breath in, big breath out. Nice. So standing here, I'm just going to kneel down so you can all see me, but we're just going to find a standing position, finding all four corners of our feet planted in and a little bend in the knees, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips, stacked over the ankles. Stay standing. I'm just going to move down so you can see me. So pretend I'm standing. We're going to bring the arms out to cactus. So finding our hands spread out, finding our elbows in line with our shoulders. Nice, beautiful. From here, we're just gonna start to draw the shoulders, the elbows towards one another behind us, opening up through the chest. You can stay looking forward, you can take your gaze up. And on your exhale, we're just gonna bring the palms to kiss the elbows towards one another as we tuck the chin. Inhale, open up, get big. Exhale, close. One more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. We'll drop the arms down to circle them all the way up. Take the gaze up here. And exhale, let the fingertips rain all the way down, coming back into our forward fold. Nice. Maybe this time the legs are a little bit straighter. Maybe it feels good to keep them bent. For me, it really feels good to have nice bent knees. Beautiful. All right, let's find two more big breaths here. Yeah, and let it out. One more time. And let it out. All right, moving to the top of your mat if you're not there already. We're gonna plant the hands down onto the ground, and we're gonna step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Pivoting the left toes to the left side of the room, we're gonna keep the front toes at 12 o'clock. Nice. From here, we're just gonna gently walk the self up here as we come into our first warrior, our warrior two. So keeping a nice big bend in the front knee here, we're gonna reach the arms out to the front and the back of the room, north and south. Finding that back edge of the foot really planted into the mat here, and having our spine having our pelvis be nice and neutral. Yeah, we're starting to lengthen the sit bones down, the tailbone down here. And we're finding engagement in our hands. Check in with the back fingertips. Make sure they're alive. Check in with the front fingertips. Now softly take your gaze over the front fingertips. Big breath in here. Big breath out. One more time, big breath in. Trying to keep that front knee tracking between the big toe and the pinky toe. Big breath out. All right, from here, we're gonna dive that left hand forward, bringing it down by the right foot as we pivot on the back toes, bringing the back heel above the back toes. From here, we're gonna reach the right arm up, coming into open twist. Now you can stay here, lifted off the back knee, or you can gently set that back knee down underneath you, maybe onto a blanket, your books or a block, maybe just onto the mat. Nice with that top arm. We're just gonna take some big arm circles here. One direction, and then the other direction. Ooh, nice, big breath in. And we're gonna slowly bring that right hand down to frame the front foot. Turning the shoulders down towards the mat, the hips down towards the mat. We're gonna pop up off that back knee. Nice, beautiful. Now this might take a few attempts, so don't be hard on yourself if it does, but we're gonna slowly start to pop that back foot towards the front of the mat, coming into forward fold. Doesn't matter how you get there, but make your way to the top of the mat for forward fold. Nice. Bring your hands onto the block or the tops of the shin. On your next inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. Give your dog a pat if he's there. Nice. Plant down and through the feet. On your next inhale, rise, get big, bring the arms up, take the gaze up here. Extended mountain pose. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands. We're going to step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat, pivoting the toes to the right side of the room. Keeping a nice big bend in the front knee and trying to keep it tracked between the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound. We're going to slowly help ourselves up as we come into our warrior two from the front and the back of the room. Nice. Now dropping the shoulders ever so slightly away from the ears here. Trying to keep the shoulders stacked over the hips. Drawing that front knee forward here. Big breath in. Big breath out. Check in with that back hand. Is it alive or is it like a floppy fish? Can you start to extend it? Create that space like we did in the beginning of the class where I put grapes between your hands. Big breath in here. Beautiful. We're going to bring that right hand all the way towards the top of the mat here as we pivot on the back toes. Nice. We're going to reach the left arm up here. And the option here to stay here, maybe come down onto that back knee. I'm just going to start to circle the arm in one direction and the other direction. Nice. Big breath in. Big breath out. We're going to bring that hand down. We're going to try that stepping to the front of our mat again. So tucking the back toes under, lifting up off that back knee. Maybe you take a couple steps. Maybe you're able to bring that front foot all the way to both feet to the top of the mat. Nice. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, get big. Take your gaze up, extended mountain pose. And exhale. Nice. We're going to come into our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So finding our feet directly underneath us at 12 o'clock. Finding a little bend in the knees as they're about hip width distance apart. Finding the shoulders stacked over the hips here. And just letting the hands face the front of the room. Nice. We'll take a couple big breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. All right, let's just get into a tiny little bit of balance here. So we're going to come into a standing leg raise. So let's start with our hands on our hips, just finding our hip creases here, keeping a little bounce in our knees. All right, starting to bring our weight into our left foot here. We're going to start to extend the right toes out in front of us, keeping them on the ground. Keeping the hips square, the shoulders square. This may be where you're at today. Sometimes this can like really mess with my balance. So staying here, finding your breath, and finding something to gaze at in front of you. Not noticing like what you need to do in your house, but rather just finding a fixed point in space to stare at and keep your gaze steady. All right, so keeping your toe right out here on the ground, this might be where you're at. Or maybe you begin to lift that right knee up, bringing the knee in line with the hip, generously flexing the toes towards the front of the room. Nice. You can stay here. You can bring your right hand onto your knee for support. Beautiful. We're finding balance here. So plugging into all four corners of that standing leg. If you need to exit, but come back into it. Yeah. Maybe this is where you're at with your foot extended. Maybe you just want to try lifting that foot a few times. Nice. Beautiful. So finding our standing leg raise, whatever variation you're in. Beautiful. This is a great spot to be. Or maybe we start to take our right knee out towards the right side of the room. Yeah, that's it. Awesome. Beautiful. Finding our focus, our drishti, finding our breath. Big breath in. And slowly close it. We'll set that foot down. Nice. We're just gonna like pump our arms and bend our knees a little bit. Pretend we're like speed walking. Bless you. And we'll take it to the opposite side. So remember, this is just yoga. It doesn't matter if we're good at this. It matters that we're here working on this, that we're practicing. Yoga is a practice. So let's take it to the second side, bringing our hands onto our hips. Finding our weight into our right foot. Maybe you just extend the left toes out in front of you, and that's where you're at today. That's okay. Maybe you decide to start to lift that left knee, flexing through the toes. Maybe you bring the left hand onto the left knee here. Nice, beautiful. Remembering if you fall, just to try again. There's infinite opportunities to try again. Nice, beautiful. All right, we're going to slowly start to open up that left knee towards the left side of the room. Nice. If your foot's extended, I forgot to give this option before. If your toes are just on the ground, you can just start to drag the toes over to the left. So there's options here for everybody. Big breath in and slowly close that leg back down and set it down. Nice. Move the arms, move the knees here. We'll find one more balance. Let me get my dog out of the way. Parker, over here. Go over there. All right. He really likes to get into my yoga practice. Like when I do handstands, he's all over the place. All right. So plugging down into that left foot, let's find a tree pose. So today our tree is just going to have a little kickstand. We're just going to bring the inside of the sole of our foot onto the ankle and the foot here. Now, if you're a little bit more practiced or you have some balance, you can bring your foot onto the calf or up onto the upper thigh, just never the knee. So if you bring it to the knee, you could really seriously injure your knee and like blow it out. So don't do that. So bringing the hands, let's start with our hands at heart center here. Keeping the hips nice and square, keeping the shoulders soft. We'll find a few breaths here in this tree. Nice. Yeah. Remembering this is just yoga and we're doing it all together. It's a practice, it's a journey. Big breath in and slowly release. Shake it out, shake the arms, shake the knees. Woo, woo, woo. And we'll take it to the second side. Nice. Bringing the left sole of the foot to rest on the right ankle here. Again, if you want to take it onto your calf, maybe try it out. Maybe you can bring up the books underneath your toes if you would like, and try that out and kind of elevate, bring the ground up to you. And bringing the hands to heart center, pushing the hands in towards one another here. And finding that engagement in our torso here. Yeah, still pulling the belly button in, keeping the spine nice and long, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Nice, beautiful. One more big breath. And slowly release out. We're just gonna hop in a little circle on our mat. Get a little silly. Jody knows I do this in class. All right, beautiful. On our next inhale, we'll sweep the arms all the way up. And then exhale, forward fold at the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, we're gonna start to come down onto our seat here. Just bringing our bum onto the mat or the earth, however you get there. Get over here. It just like has a knack for getting in the way. All right, let's give ourselves a nice big hug like we did before. So finding all four corners of our feet on the earth, we'll just wrap our arms around our thighs as we tuck our chin, give ourselves a hug. Nice big breath in, big breath out. Nice, we'll sit all the way up here. We'll bring the hands out facing one another as we reach for the front of the room. From here, we're just gonna slowly lower down onto the back. Slower than you want to. Slow, 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 slow. And then coming all the way onto your back here, we'll pull the knees into the chest. Keeping the lower back on the earth here. Keeping the upper body nice and relaxed here. We'll just grab onto the tops of our shins or our knees as we rock side to side, giving ourselves a nice little massage. Woo! Yeah, that feels good. Nice. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna set our feet down onto the earth, bringing our knees back up towards the ceiling. From here, we're gonna take our right ankle and we're gonna cross it over the left knee. Nice. Beautiful. All right, we're energetically or with our hand, we're just gonna start to push our right knee towards the front of the room ever so slightly so that we can start to find this hip opening here in the inner hip and the outer hip. Nice. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna get into the hip portion of our class. So this might be where you're at today. This is a lot of opening here. Keeping the spine long, the hips heavy. This figure four in our legs can be a lot. However, if you would like to add on, there are always options. So you can start to add on by bringing the hands around that thigh here and pulling the left knee in towards the chest. Nice. You can bring the hands around the tops of the shin here, the left shin, and pull that in towards the chest. Finding here your sensation. We're not looking for pain. We're looking for sensation here. So we're looking for a 4 or a 5 on a scale of sensation out of 10. So find that and then begin to breathe into it. Okay. Yes, keeping the lower back nice and heavy. Beautiful. Keeping the shoulders nice and heavy. Nice. And coming back to our breath. I know when I get into my hip portions in my own practice, this is when my breath, the tool of breath, helps calm me down, right? So we're going to start to breathe in. Pause at the top of it and then slowly let it out. Let's do that a few more times. Breathe in, pause at the top, and breathe out nice and steady. Beautiful. A few more times here. Not labeling the sensations that we feel as good or bad, but just being aware of them. Noticing through the eyes of an observer. Yeah, big breath in. And big breath out. We'll slowly release the knee, the shin here, bringing the left foot onto the earth. We'll slowly unwind the right here. And we're just gonna windshield wiper the knees side to side a few times. You can go however slow or fast feels good. Giving yourself a nice little back massage once more. And then bringing the knees back to center, about hip width distance apart. Finding that right sole of the foot planted onto the earth will gently help the left ankle here over the right knee. Starting to push the left knee energetically towards the front of the room. This might be where you're at on this side, right? And that's okay. Being with what's showing up here in your body. Maybe you would like to add on by interlacing the hands around the thigh or the shin and pulling the knee in close. Yeah, finding this like floating pigeon here. Finding our breath. Maybe it feels good to close the eyes here. Maybe it feels good to keep them open. Whatever can help keep you present here in this moment. Noticing the sounds that you hear in your house, the sound of my voice. But noticing the sound of your breath, the sounds of the room that you're in. Starting to notice what you can feel, the points of contact of the mat underneath you, your clothes. Yeah, maybe the air on your skin, is it comfortable? Maybe there's a taste in your mouth here that you notice. Maybe you just like drink a sip of water, or can taste your last meal, or minty gum, or there's something in your mouth. And then just noticing what you see around you. Not, sorry about the barking. Not trying to find judgment here with your house or your barking dog. But just noticing, right? Breathing into it. One more big breath in. And slowly release the feet down towards the earth here. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees back and forth a few times. Nice. Beautiful. All right, just checking the time. All right, we'll come into one more posture here before we find our Savasana. All right, so keeping the feet, no, let's bring our arms out to a T. I'm sorry. So our arms out to a T, palms face up, finding the shoulders nestled underneath you. We're going to slowly pull the knees into the chest. And then from here, we're just going to drop them over to the right side. Now, this is where your block or books might come in handy. So we want to keep the left shoulder magnetically reaching down towards the earth as we let our knees drop. So you can bring a block or the books underneath your knees here for a little bit of support. You can start to pull the knees closer into the chest if that's like a lot of sensation. If you're looking for more sensation, let the knees come a little further away from the body. Nice. All right, from here, we're going to slowly take our gaze up towards the ceiling. And if that feels good, over to the left fingertips. So we're finding this a cross body action all the way from the neck to the hips here. So letting the self stay nice and heavy. Big breath in. Big breath out. 2 more times. Last time. Bringing our awareness to our core. On our next inhale, we're going to pull our knees back into our chest. Give them a nice tight squeeze. Bring the arms out to T, and then keeping that right shoulder planted down towards the earth, we'll slowly let the knees drop over to the left. Again, maybe playing with bringing the knees closer or further away from the face. Maybe bringing books or your block between or underneath the legs. Maybe bringing the left hand on top of the knees here if you want to add some more sensation. Bringing the gaze up towards the ceiling here. And if that feels good, taking it all the way to the right fingertips. Yeah. Again, we're not looking for pain. We're looking just for like this big release here. Yeah. Twisting our spine, finding our opening from hip to shoulder. Big breath in. Big breath out. 2 more times. Big breath in. Big breath out. Last time. Nice. We're going to slowly bring our awareness back to our core. Pull our knees into the chest. Give them a nice tight squeeze. Yeah, nice. On our next inhale, we'll pull the forehead up towards the knees. Curl into a tiny little ball. And exhale. We're going to come into our final resting pose. So bringing the legs out in front of us. Nestling the shoulders underneath us. Letting the hands splay out side to side. Now doing whatever you need to do to make yourself more comfortable here as we get into our Savasana. So maybe you need to like put some socks on or like close your eyes or put a cloth over your eyes, but coming all the way down onto your mat so that you are nice and comfortable. Yeah, Savasana is so important to end our practice with because it is our final resting pose. And yes, I'm coming to you and asking you to come all the way down on the floor and get comfortable and do nothing but relax. And now this can be the most challenging pose. I know it is for me because oftentimes when I get down onto my mat, my mind starts reeling, right? It starts talking, all these to-do lists, all these things. And throughout our class, it was easier to be a little bit more mindful as we were moving dynamically and I was asking you to focus on alignment and breath. But now I'm just asking you to do nothing. Our goal here is to find stillness and just be so that we can help release stress and muscular tension so that we can help reset the body. So begin to notice your breath here. Just your nice natural breath. Maybe the eyes are open, maybe they're closed. Yeah. Noticing the breath here, and I'm going to take you through just a tiny little visualization. So imagine you are walking outside. You are walking outside and it's the most perfect day. The grass is soft underneath your bare feet. The sun is down, shining down on you. I want you to slowly sit down in this visualization and notice that there's a garden all around you. You sit in the grass and you find stillness in the body, find stillness in the breath. As you sit here in the grass, you notice there's a pack of seeds and a shovel. So with this pack of seeds and the shovel, you decide you're going to plant something. So you dig your hands into the earth here, into the warm, fertile, moist dirt. No gloves, but just your hand, the first big grasp of dirt. You feel all the nutrients and life of the soil. Now you find that packet of seeds. You find a seed, and this seed is something special. The seed is an intention, a very clear intention. Maybe it's finding peace, maybe it's finding relief, but this seed represents your intention. Now, once your hole is big enough here, you're going to plant that seed into the earth, gently laying it down and gently covering it with the soil. Nice. Now you planted that seed and this intention in your mind, and you're just going to let it sit there. You're going to let it germinate, and you're going to let it get fertilized, and you're going to see what grows from it. Just like yoga is a practice, every day you're going to come out and check that intention, that seed, and see what grows. Nice. We're going to slowly start to deepen our breath here. Bringing our breath down into our ribs and into our belly. We're going to just start to find little movement in the fingers and in the toes. Gently rocking the head side to side here. We're going to pull the knees into the chest. And then slowly let them drop down to the right or the left. Coming into our fetal position here, letting the bottom arm support the head with the top arm coming out in front of you. Letting this fetal pose here be a physical reminder that each breath, each moment, each day is a new chance to begin again and plant that seed, that intention for what you would like to grow in your life. Nice. Beautiful. All right. You can stay here as long as you would like in this fetal pose, or you can gently push your way up into a nice, easy seat. Congratulations, you have all just completed an hour of yoga. This class is recorded, so feel free once it's put up onto the yoga or onto the Brighton District Library YouTube page to revisit it and see how things change over time. Yeah, coming back to as often as you would like to see what shows up. We will be offering yoga for mobility 3 more times. If you signed up, you will get the link. It's the same link. So you can come and explore a little bit more with me. Thank you so much for showing up, for creating space, and happy spring equinox. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.